Thank you. Eva, it's 10 o'clock or 10:01. Would you mind, let's call the meeting to order. And if you don't mind, please do the roll call.
All right. Tom Avino,
Present.
Wanda Dunmore,
Present.
Keith Kari, Julio Granda,
Here.
Corporal Lindsay, Dr. Massey,
Here.
Joshua Crystal. I see you're muted, Mr. Crystal.
Here. Present.
Gotcha. Jennifer Shiver. Here. Angie Smith. Corporal Ellis.
Here.
Michelle Young Williams. Michelle, I see you joined. Are you muted?
Good morning, everyone.
Gotcha. Dr. Massey, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Eva. Well, I hope everybody's still surviving our COVID experience. It's extraordinary times. And I think most of the people I know are doing pretty well, but we've all had our share of difficult issues associated with going about our daily business while also maintaining social distance and keeping ourselves and others safe. So I hope you've all found this to be something you're able to manage without too much difficulty. So why don't we get started? If you will, we have the minutes that Eva circulated earlier. If we could please take a moment to review those. All right, if people have had a chance to review, can we have a motion to approve the minutes of the August meeting?
I'll make a motion. Tom Avino.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome. Julio seconded.
Thank you. If no discussion, can we vote to approve the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any objections or abstentions? Thank you, Eva. The minutes were approved.
All right.
As to old business, as you all know, October we had our Board of County Commissioner meeting, and our awards were presented to our two awardees this year. It was a very nice award. Just so you know, we had, let me get their names here. I had it right in front of me and then I lost them, so I don't pronounce them wrong. J.C. Garcia won the Anti-Bullying Recognition Award, and Logan Andrus won the Emerging Leader Award. And I'm not sure if either of them are on, but of course our sponsors this year were Elia Ewing and Mark Matthews, and just like to put it in the minutes one more time, we appreciate their support for the Anti-Bullying Advisory Committee efforts. And quite honestly, I thought these were very, very deserving young people who won these awards to attend the Board of County Commissioners meeting. Everybody was impressed by these two young people and their efforts on behalf of anti-bullying. Anybody have any questions or suggestions or comments? All right. As you know, I think I saw Charles Mendez has joined us. A few months back, we had talked about developing a small project to provide, to inform and educate parents and help them deal with the issue of bullying and cyberbullying particularly. And the Mendez Foundation was identified as an appropriate community agency to work and develop that project. I believe we can, I believe the contract is still in process, if I'm not mistaken, but we want to just give them a chance to give us a quick update. Let us know where they are and if there's anything else we need to do as well. So with that, Charles, would you like to speak a little bit to where you are with the project and just bring us up to date?
Sure. Thank you, Tom, and good morning, everybody. The project hasn't moved too terribly much since we last spoke last year, but we did make some adjustments to the proposal based on comments from the county and from the committee to address the current state of affairs in our lives, with either distanced or together. We don't know which will be when this project lands. So we decided we would present it as something that could be whether in its original concept of seminar type event where people are in the same room together interacting, or whether it was distributed and implemented in a forum like this one today, where we are in a video conferencing type setup. We would still develop content that would be distributed to parents and families after the fact for continuing practical application and cooperative learning at home. But we feel that, whether we, design a in-person seminar or a virtual seminar, that the learning and the development can continue in the same capacity. So again, it's a concept of digital citizenship, and to really, inform and empower parents to understand the virtual world within which their children operate, and really honestly must operate. There is no real reality where kids are not engaged in social media. So the idea is to equip them with the skills, tools, understanding how to best safely navigate, to protect themselves, and to be kind to each other as they do so. So in the proposal, we still outline, course content, training program, resource manuals, trainings that we would provide, as well as a provision for some presentations within which we would facilitate, as well as the activity sets that we would provide, whether for the participants who are live or for those who are virtual. And so we will begin development once we are all in agreement, or once the committee and the county are all in agreement about what to do and how to go forward. And then we would, participate in updates as you would like us to keep you informed as we develop it. So that's sort of a review and an update. So I hope that answers any questions, but if there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, thanks, Charles. I think my only question is, I'm not, bureaucracies grind very slowly, as we all know. Is there anything we need to do to help with the process of the contract? My understanding is that's still maybe up in the air, or maybe I'm talking from old knowledge here.
I don't know if it's up in the air per se, but it's certainly in process. In conversations with the county, I think that all indicators suggest that things are moving forward. But when will it actually switch? I don't know, but it seems to be that we're all looking at the same solution as something desirable. So I don't think there's it's not a question of if, but just when at this point.
Okay. I think just let us know, or let me know, and if we need to in any way try to facilitate, because obviously you'd like to move on and get this done, and you have other things on your plate as well. So I just don't want us to kind of, get caught in a slipstream where we never get out and get it actually accomplished. That's and I have seen that happen with best intentions of everybody involved. So we just, want to avoid that. So please keep us informed if there's anything any of us need to do to make sure the contract gets signed, or if it's caught in somebody's office someplace. My experience with USF, which is a fine university, nevertheless, it's just terribly difficult sometimes to get things moving. Rob, you had a comment?
Absolutely. Rob Parkinson with Hillsborough County. I think the challenge at this juncture is that the Mendez Foundation has had to adjust their plans to respond to COVID and the limitations of COVID. Of course, from a contracting perspective, we really need to have a viable product before we can enter into a contract. So I think the takeaway from this is that once the Mendez Foundation comes up with an agreeable model, to bring it back to the group and say, is this what you're wanting? Is this what you feel will address the unmet need in Hillsborough County? Obviously, the Mendez Foundation's historical role as a primary prevention provider funded by DCF certainly puts them in a good place to get this model together. But the county needs a cohesive product put forward to contract with. We need to be able to tell the county precisely what we're buying, what the outputs and outcomes are going to be, and how we're going to pay for that product. Does that make sense?
Forgive me, I had thought we, in our earlier meeting, had specified that with enough detail to allow us to move forward. Does the Mendez Foundation need to offer any more specific description so we can move forward?
So my understanding is that they are tweaking what they've submitted to address the unique needs of COVID. So specifically the virtual presentations, the virtual presence, I think that's the part that's being bolstered. Eva, I know you've been one-on-one involved in those discussions. Is that accurate?
Right, that's my impression also.
And we did submit an updated version of the previous proposal to insert language to reflect that. Would that need to be, or would there be a level of specificity that you're looking for, Rob? Beyond, meaning down to the type of conferencing or that, or just presented in such a format?
There is, and I believe Deb McGinty has been in contact with your staff. Again, Eva, you were present for those, or you were on board with those discussions. Are we still waiting for anything from them regarding those requested changes?
I know if that's the furthest update, Mr. Mendez, then we do have that. Will there be further tweaks to what we last discussed, or is that it?
That's it, unless you would require, additional clarification, which we could provide.
I will pass that on to Deb.
Okay.
Eva, can you share that with me?
The update?
The latest description, or the way you describe it, tweaked, the latest tweaks you have to the proposal?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from members of the committee? Rob, I noticed your hand is still up. I don't know if you had anything else to add. And in the meantime, Ray Padgett, I see you have your hand up.
Hey, Dr. Massey, can you hear me?
Absolutely, yes.
Fine. I just want to be sure. I believe I heard you said it, that under the new proposal, remember the school resource officers were going to be the ones to administer it in the first place. When Chief Newman got involved and dealt with Rob Parkinson, well, not dealt with, but they had a meeting about it, and I think it was outside of their bandwidth. So did I hear correctly that the Mendez would be delivering the program directly to the parents on this one?
We left it structured so that the county would decide how they would want to assign this role, but that we would include as part of the scope that we would deliver, I think, at least 4 of those seminars, but didn't specify beyond that who or what functionary would be assigned. We figured that was outside of our
Okay.
our role to decide that.
Ray, it's Rob Parkinson again. Yeah, I did speak to the chief, and he certainly let us know of the limitations of using security personnel, deputies, and officers. especially with the, enhanced security arrangements at the schools. So that was taken out of the proposal.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. That was my understanding as well. Yes, absolutely.
And you may have hit it when I was still logging in. I would like to introduce Josh Crystal, the new General Director of Student Engagement for Hillsborough County Schools. He'll be a permanent fixture on this committee, and this is his world 24/7.
Oh, good. Glad to have you aboard, Josh. And Ray, I hope you don't completely fall off the face of the earth with all your other responsibilities.
No, I asked to remain on this panel as either his backup or a second member from the county. So I enjoy the work.
Wonderful. Thank you much. Josh, welcome. Any other questions or comments for Charles? Any issues we don't have resolved there? Well, certainly we'll look forward to the product as soon as we get the final contractual issues settled, Charles. I remain convinced that this is something that will be very helpful for parents. And, I believe that if we have a product, we can solve the question of dissemination and getting it out there. But obviously, it's a little premature to talk too much about dissemination until we have something, a product or product underway at least. And I think we can think about numerous ways of perhaps getting it out there. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, thank you, Charles. And I noticed Kim is on as well. Hi, Kim. Thank you for attending as well. Do you have anything to add, Kim?
No, I was just checking the emails, and we did send the revised proposal to Deborah, and that was about a week ago on the 14th, and she said that she would get in touch with Rob and Eva on the next steps. So the new proposal.
So it's okay, great, thank you. We're getting a little feedback. I'm not sure if somebody's trying to speak. Okay, that took care of it, whatever it was. All right, so on to new business. We're moving fairly quickly today, but that's all right. Is Elizabeth Tanner is here? I believe she is.
Dr.
Yes.
Massey, Jennifer Shiver has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Jennifer. Sorry about that.
Hey, Dr. Massey, it's fine. I just want to let you know because Elizabeth Tanner is presenting today. I've brought my school psychologist, Dr. Bodden, in. I just want everybody to aware that he's here with me listening in, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you.
Okay. Elizabeth?
Hi, yes. How are you, sir?
Very good. Thank you. How are you?
Oh, doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me here today as a guest. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. No problem.
Awesome. So I had sent the presentation, but would you like me just to share my screen and talk a little bit about the presentation today?
Yes. Why don't you try to do that? That'd be wonderful.
Okay. I am, let's see how well I can do this. I'm usually on Zoom, and when you have one down, then you try your best. Let's see. Kind of coming up. Okay. Can everybody see this?
We can see a file structure.
Okay, not the actual PowerPoint?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. Let me lower that. I'm going to stop that.
If you have two screens, you may have to move it from one screen to the other.
Okay. How about now?
There you go.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Still technical issues. You'd think 9 months into this, we would have it good to go. But so thank you all again for your attention and for having me here today. My name is Elizabeth Tanner. I'm the Supervisor of Emotional Wellness. I work with Hillsborough County Public Schools and work within the Student Services Division in the Climate and Culture Department. So thank you again. I know I work very closely. Ann Townsend, I believe, is on this call with Student Services. And I also work with my counterpart, Michael Kelleher. And both of our main roles is to oversee the district's mental health plan and ensure that we are providing direct services to students for mental health, but also working towards education for mental health awareness, prevention. And this is where we have our Kognito partnership, and I will explain a little bit about how that relates to bully prevention and intervention as well. So thank you again for having me. Any questions initially on before I get started and kind of jump into the presentation? I can't see the, like when you have the PowerPoint up, I can't see the screen. So if anybody has any hands up or what have you, just let me know. Okay, and this is very casual. So please interrupt if you need to or ask questions when you would like.
Elizabeth, I'll watch the people for hand raises too for you.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you. So just to give you a little bit of background with our partnership with Kognito, as part of the legislation through the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Public School Safety Act, one of the mandates is that we provide youth mental health first aid training to every employee in the district. And that is a large task, especially for our district being so large, one of the largest in the nation. We have a lot of trainings to give for people to become youth mental health first aid certified. And just like you would get a CPR certification, this youth mental health first aid certification means that you would assist youth that may be in crisis or maybe displaying mental health challenges. And you would assist them by getting them to and connected to professionals that can provide mental health interventions. So the state recognized that that's very challenging to train so many people, and it would take several years for us to be all in the Hillsborough County public schools to become first aiders with youth mental health first aid. So in the meantime, while folks are waiting to take that training, they can participate in what we call Kognito at-risk simulations. And these simulations are, I'll kind of talk to you a little bit about them. They provide teachers with a guided module that kind of shows them how to interact and how to appropriately assist students that might be at risk or at crisis. But also we've purchased some modules to help students that are being bullied or have witnessed bullying, maybe a bystander, and how teachers can support students that are either the bully themselves or have been victims of bullying. So I'll talk to you a little bit about these simulations, but the state has assisted Hillsborough County by setting us up with a partnership with Kognito, as well as giving us a whole lot of different resources that we can use some of our allocation, our mental health allocation, for further resources, such as like our bully prevention simulations. Okay, so, you know, what we do is provide our staff with just a basic introduction. You know, what is Kognito? It's a company that really is evidence-based, and these online simulations and modules, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, it almost looks like a Sims game. It's kind of fun, but these actual modules that take you through a simulation are very interactive. They're with virtual people, And across the nation, they've had over 1 million educators, students, healthcare professionals take these simulations to become more versed on how to interact with students and assist them with kids that might be having some challenges. So this is the company themselves. They've been vetted and approved, and they have a lot of research behind their product as well. Okay, the simulation that the teachers go through is very interactive. They are watching a scenario per se, and then they interact by typing in a dialogue, and they navigate through the actual scenario based on the dialogue. They receive instant feedback from a coach that can tell them, that was a great, response, or that worked out well, or hey, let's talk about other ways that you could respond, and gives them feedback right on the spot. So unlike real life, you can undo your decision of what you've said, and kind of refocus and think about ways that you could provide more assistance to the youth that you're interacting with through the simulation. And then you receive a summary of your performance and kind of an overall recommendation based on the module that you took. What's really nice about folks that have taken these simulations is that it's very safe. You can do this at home. You can do it on your work computer. You're not doing practicing these conversations with other people around you, so it's non-confrontational. You get a lot of engagement. We've had teachers that have taken this and said, that was the best hour that I've had. I got so much out of it. And you're very focused because it's extremely interactive. The scenarios that they take you through are pretty realistic, and you get that feedback. And this is proven to sustain behavior in our teachers and change their mindset on how to work and assist students that are in need. So I wanted to show you, what the two different types of simulations. I know with this committee, we have a focus on bully prevention, but I think that it's important to know that our teachers and our staff, and this is available to anyone. The youth at risk is available to anyone in the district to take. The bully prevention is for our middle and high school staff, but with the at risk, there's an elementary, a middle, and a high school simulation, and our charter schools are included with that. And I don't want to say that we're not doing both. We want to push, and we're trying to advertise to push employees to take both simulations, both the at-risk and the bully prevention. And I'll tell you a little bit about our data results soon. So the at-risk is, again, elementary, middle, and high. Just looking at the different types of simulations, you go through 3 different scenarios. Within those 3 different scenarios, that should take about 60 minutes. I'll just pick a middle school scenario here. You hear about with a girl, Mariah. She's being teased by popular girls. How would you handle that as a teacher? There's also a child, Jen, who's having trouble at home. And then Michael, a boy who's struggling with loss and thoughts of suicide. So each of these scenarios have a almost crisis type of situation where it's prompting what would you, the teacher, do in that case. And all of these kind of simulations tie in very much so to our youth mental health first aid training, where there is some non-crisis scenarios, and then there's a crisis scenario, and what should you do. And through our partnership with Kognito, at the end, we've actually put in the resources that we have in Hillsborough County. So we say these are the folks on your campus that can help you. You have a school psychologist, a student services team, counselors, social workers, nurses, and then in the community, you have the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay and 211. So we've tailored that for Hillsborough County for the teachers to see what resources we have when the students either need additional help or are in crisis. All of these learning objectives are to recognize signs, initiate a good conversation, and then connect the students with the appropriate services and learn some really good interviewing techniques on how to speak with students. And that's true for the bully prevention and the at-risk simulations. Okay, so let's just dive a little bit into the Building Respect Bully Prevention training. So this is a separate module. Remember, the first one was the at-risk with more mental health, crisis scenario. Now these scenarios that take our middle and high school staff through bullying situations. As you can see, they talk about terms such as the aggressor, an upstander, a target. There's a conversation with a teacher, and then there's a teacher-to-teacher bully situation. And each of those really are very, again, step-by-step, in-depth. It's interactive, and they ask the teacher, you know, what would you do in this situation? How would you approach the situation? Who could you go to for help? Looking at the one in the middle there, it says conversation challenge, talk with Stephanie. A teacher approaches a student who has been absent, is showing some behavior changes, and it turns out that the child's being bullied. So it gives a really good, clear directions to that teacher of how to assist Stephanie, that student. Some of the objectives that you will get through the bully prevention module are directly addressing biased language, effectively speaking with students, and corporate conversation tactics, and fostering a culture where, you know, educators take action whenever bullying is seen, heard, or reported. So I know these are all really major objectives that we would want our teachers to learn and to hear and to feel comfortable assisting students and other adults with. So it's pretty simple here with accessing the simulation. The teachers just go online. There is a Florida Kognito login that all of our, the state of Florida, all districts get. And then they basically create a password. They use their school email and password. And then once they have that, they can scroll to their school. We've already uploaded all of the schools into the mainframe with Kognito. And then they're basically ready to go. They have access to all of the different modules, all the at-risk ones, and then the bully prevention if they're in middle and high school. And that's the account that they would use for our Florida account. And we've added the bully prevention in there as well. So what's really important here, and this is for the at-risk, and there is discussion for bully prevention as well, is that it is a blended approach. We would like the teachers to do the actual simulations. I feel, you know, it can be done as a standalone. I feel like they should be doing it where they're comfortable and have a confidential setting, but it also can be done in a large group where folks are going and logging in and doing the simulation and then as a larger group. But we have seen that it's been most effective when that's been done independently. However, afterwards, there should be some time for discussion and post-training in a post-training group session. And Kognito has provided talking points and a guide to help that conversation move forward, especially for the at-risk learning modules. So, hey, you went through that simulation. What was challenging? What did you find really, what did you learn? What did you find really interesting? What would you do different than what you did before you did the simulation? So all those good conversations should be done after the teachers and the staff complete the simulations. And here are just a couple of different learning methods. You know, what we ask our folks to do is introduce this to the staff, say, hey, this is Kognito, these are our partners, this is how you log in, this is what we want you to do. They can do that as a faculty meeting, or they can do it at, on a Zoom or through a Teams meeting. And then afterward, you can do the follow-up the same way through Zoom or a live person session. Some folks have recorded a pre-recording of explaining what Kognito is and how to log on and send that out as well. All of those different options are allowed. And then, of course, that post-discussion that I talked about is very important as well. When we complete the at-risk modules and do the discussion guide, it counts as one of the criteria for schools to become suicide prevention schools. And Ann, if I'm saying that wrong, if it's not suicide prevention school, Ms. Townsend, let me know. But it is one of the criterias that they can do and take. And if all of the staff complete the at-risk training, then they meet that criteria for the suicide prevention school, which is great. The bully prevention is an added resource as well. This is just, I wanted you guys to see, like, this is an example of the discussion guides that the teachers would participate in after they complete the modules. And it is scripted, so folks don't have to come up with these questions to talk about with teachers afterward. It's already all there for you. Okay, keep going here. That's the facilitator guide. They give you, I put some of this on here just so you know, they give you everything with Kognito, which is great. If you want to advertise this flyers at your school or a flyer to send out through internal email on what to do, how to log on, what you should do to complete the modules, they've given everything in a file for the teachers to use, which is nice. And that's an example of the flyer. And again, they're just trying to really emphasize those implementation steps. You introduce this, talk about what's important, why the teachers are taking these modules. And October, of course, is, you know, a bully prevention month. And we're really trying to push this as a great talking point for teachers. There's a reason why we have this month. There's a reason why we really need to bring bully prevention to the forefront, because it's preventative and we're preventing mental health concerns from onsetting. And some of those symptoms that might occur, such as withdrawn behaviors, depression, anxiety, that may occur because a student is being bullied. And when you make those connections for folks, they understand the why and will become more engaged with completing the modules with fidelity. Okay. So again, just our implementation is where I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about our data. We have launch, learn, and lead. We're definitely in the launch period still. When we had extra time in August because of the delay of school and also that first week of online learning, many of our teachers completed the at-risk and bully prevention. A lot of our teachers started with the at-risk. And we have about 3,500 teachers in over 150 schools that have done the at-risk training. So that was the one that talked about the crisis scenarios, onset of mental health issues, excuse me. Right now, we are almost at about 900 of our middle and high school staff members and over 100 schools that have done the bully prevention modules. So that's great. We have a long way to go. But with all that's going on right now, with Canvas and COVID and schedules, and I'm extremely happy with those numbers that it's been over 100 schools that have participated in some of our bully prevention modules, and a lot of our at-risk modules have been completed as well. So it's a great start. The learning and leading part, I think, is going to be continuing all year. This is something that we're going to emphasize teachers to do. These discussions, or that part 2, should be ongoing in our schools and in classrooms. So we're looking to make sure that our schools are supported with resources to emphasize creating a culture that's safe and one where students feel that they have trusted adults in the building. So I just put our contact with Kognito, Kathleen Miller. She is our success manager. She's been instrumental in helping support our schools with creating their accounts, looking at our data. If there's any glitches or what have you, there's a live support line that's there. That's that 800 number where we get an actual person that can help a teacher right away if there's an issue with their account. The district does receive reports and school reports of who has completed that information versus who is not. And we make sure we are giving those to our principals and our schools as soon as we get them so that they have their numbers. And she helps us pull those reports as well. So I just want to pause right now. I'm going to escape out of the screen a little bit. I'm just going to pull it down and go back here to Teams and to ask for any questions or answer any questions that you guys might have, because that's pretty much the presentation in a nutshell, but I want to make sure that we have time for questions.
Thanks, Elizabeth. That was very informative. I really appreciate that. I had just one or two questions, and of course, I want to give the committee members plenty of chance to ask as well. So the at-risk, now, is this all voluntary, or is the at-risk required, or what are you doing there?
Yeah, so that's always the million-dollar question that so many people ask me. Absolutely 100% the youth mental health first aid training is a requirement. What they've given the option to districts and to the state is that this Kognito is a supplement and a resource. But however, our superintendent did put out that he's strongly suggesting and pushing that our staff take these really meaningful trainings. We work with our unions and what have you, and say that if the teacher can please do that during the school day, during their work day, either during the faculty meeting time or what have you, that's when they would be completing these type of simulations. But yes, we are pushing them as much as possible because of the importance.
Right. And it sounds like, I as a matter of fact, I have taken the Kognito. I did not know there was a bullying one. So is there a little bit difference in terms of getting the word out for the bullying? Obviously, it's not the elementary schools, but you do have a big difference in the bullying versus the at-risk. Do you think that's awareness, or it's?
Yeah. I think it is a little bit of, of course, we don't have as many staff members in middle and high because the other one is elementary, middle, and high, and what have you. However, our advisement was to take the at-risk module first to get familiar with it, and then go to the bully prevention resource. So I think that's why our numbers might be a little lower, is they're taking the initial training with at-risk. Another is that we went through our student services team members during our pre-planning and talked about the different modules available. And they've been so very helpful in helping the principals do that initial kickoff and presentation. And I don't always want to have to rely on these folks, on our team members that have so much on their plates. I think we're going to continue, as we see this first semester come to a close, to advertise and remind principals, hey, this is out there. These modules are really proven to be beneficial, and to continue to promote them.
And one other question, then I'll see what other members have to say or ask. It sounds like this is ongoing. You're rolling it out now. Is there kind of a timetable, or is this kind of a permanent resource or something like that for folks?
So the at-risk trainings right now are, as long as the state funds them, and we see this as an ongoing partnership with the bully prevention. We did use some of our mental health allocation that is good for a year. So we really just started that contract, but then we would want to continue it for sure, based on, and our first year with everything as a baseline data. So did the teachers find it effective? Did they complete it? What are our numbers? And we actually have some really great completion rates. For example, if 400 teachers took the training, you've got 392 that completed it fully. And that's a very large, like they didn't log off halfway through, or they didn't stop the training and come back to it. So those are the type of data points that we look at to say, yes, something we want to continue. Because I think the modules based on your answers are not completely the same every time you take it.
Right.
It can lead you to a different path. So teachers can and should take the modules a couple times.
Thanks. How about questions from other members of the committee or comments?
Dr. Massey, it's Rob Parkinson. I just had a couple comments. That was a great presentation, Elizabeth.
Sure.
Looking at what this advisory group has planned for next year, really, we have existing programs addressing bullying for the youth in schools. Mendez Foundation is working on a parent model, and then you guys are focusing on teachers and faculty and staff. So we really seem to be addressing basically everyone we need to address
right
for the next year. So I think we're in a real good place moving into 2021.
Tom, you had a comment too.
Yeah, a great presentation. I love interactive type of demos that people can participate in. They seem to engage the participant more. But this is a great tool for our toolkit. So this is wonderful to see. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And this again, this is a large endeavor too. I would eventually like to move to our elementary staff taking this as well. We were advised from Kognito to start with middle and high teachers because the simulations are with older students. However, we know that teachers deal, even in elementary, with, they work with students that have bullying issues, of course, but then it's that whole peer-to-peer, teacher-to-teacher piece that they promote. So my goal, I think, is to then eventually onboard our elementary staff as well with the simulation.
Elizabeth, I noticed that the charter schools were not included in the bullying segment. Is that because of the cost or the lack of interest?
No, and actually, I've been looking at our reports. We purchased a few extra simulation licenses that were just like district, and we have had quite a few charter schools complete the modules. So they really are included as well. I think when we did our contract with with Kognito for the bully prevention, it was we were using funding from a certain grant and line from our mental health, and that's what the price that we kind of added for. However, I've seen through our data lots of charter schools participate, and from that, I'm thinking those two larger district licenses are being used, and I think I'm just going to start advertising fully now for them to use those licenses. So charter will be included.
Okay, good. Well, I'm curious when you say license, is it, and you may not know, is it something that is automatically available to all instructional staff, or do you have to do it by school or sub-region or something like that? Is that why is that some kind of limit you have on it?
Sure. So, I mean, Kognito is really good that they'll work with you with what your district is, because we're a district so large with so many employees. They allowed us to do site-based school licenses. So it was really just a price for number of school. When you have that school, then it's unlimited for that particular school. Some smaller districts, though, that it's because they have less number of schools, they do charge by actual login, but that would not work for Hillsborough County. So that's where this is a really good company that they've were fiscally responsible and worked at a price that would be feasible for us. And we did it based on school-wide purchases.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? I have a few more, but I don't want to dominate the conversation here. Anybody else, any questions or comments before I add anything? Well, Elizabeth, one other thing I was kind of curious about, you know, it's wonderful that the schools are taken care of. I immediately thought of, you know, situations in parks and recreation and the libraries, public libraries. It looks like this might be a resource just to give everybody a little bit better skill set for, you know, dealing with situations they may confront. And of course, this is out of your realm of responsibility, but do you know of any opportunity for things like the library or Parks and Rec to have this access?
So I've spoken to the coordinator, Kathleen, a little bit about the implementation. And because this is a statewide initiative through the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, many different community agencies have been partnering with Kognito. You know, we have private schools, but we also have the schools that anywhere per se where there's youth and there's students enrolled or participating, I think that they have touched or offered these type of modules too. Now, I don't know exactly how many partnerships or who has agreed upon that, but because this is a state approved module and simulation and training, it is being advertised as so. And I think we've had additional partners other than just school systems take part in these modules, especially the at-risk. And they offer many different ones too. They are starting a parent component. They're also doing a student module that we're going to be taking a look at and seeing as well. So I do believe that there's opportunity for the community to participate in these type of simulations, and some of them may be free of cost, especially the at-risk, since the state has worked a contract with them.
Well, it just having done the at-risk through the university, it sounds like you've had good responses from the teachers with regards to their perceived, you know, what they think about the quality of it and the applicability of it. So it sounds like you feel it's a good and helpful program, right?
Absolutely. I've, you know, kind of done a few reach outs to our schools that had very high rates of completion and just said, you know, what was the overall feel? And in both in elementary, middle, and high. And I've got nothing but positive feedback. Oh, that was great. I like how it was guiding you through the process. I was not bored. It was also not a very timely, ongoing simulation. You know, things that take 2 hours, it's too much time sometimes for our teachers to sit there and really complete it. So it gives you a lot of information, though, in that limited time where they feel it was impactful and would change their practice. So nothing but good news on both types of simulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if you would care to comment. From what Elizabeth describes, do you feel like this is something that would be appropriate for library staff? Obviously, you know, the time commitment for everybody is real. It may not be outrageous, but still real. What do you think?
I think it was a great presentation. I think it would be very appropriate for library staff to take it. We deal with a lot of students every day, not currently, but most of the time. And they're coming to us with real problems that we have no training or experience on how to handle. So I think that this could be very beneficial to everybody.
And I can always help you with those conversations if you needed to, or, you know, assist you with a warm handoff to the vendor and our partners with Kognito, because they're just been great the whole way with helping with implementation.
Yeah, I was planning on sending an email to our director with more information to see where he wants to lead this to.
Great.
Julio, would it help if our any bullying advisory committee made a motion to support exploring this opportunity, this training opportunity for library staff. Would that do any good for you?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to tell them that it came up in this committee.
Okay.
And that, the question came up that, would it be a good, would it benefit library staff? And that's why I was letting him know. But I'll get back to you once I have an answer from him.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any other comments or questions for Elizabeth? Thanks, Elizabeth. I thought it was a very good presentation, very informative.
Thank you all so much for having me, and please feel free to reach out if you have any other questions or comments.
Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate that presentation. So we really don't have a whole lot more to cover today. We're going to get out a little early, it looks like. In terms of new business, before we go on to public comments, we'll also see if folks have general comments they'd like to add. Let's take care of the single new business piece that we haven't. We always have a December meeting scheduled, and this year it happens to fall on December 24th. It seems that I recall that's a special day or something, if I'm not mistaken. So in years past, we dispense with the December meeting for the sake of the holidays. Perhaps, I don't know if we need any discussion about that, but we can also have a motion to cancel the December meeting, or perhaps everybody really does want to meet.
So moved by Angie Smith. We canceled that meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I second Ray Padgett.
Thank you, Ray. All right, I don't think we need a lot of discussion. All in favor of canceling the December meeting and jumping back in the new year, hopefully after we have vaccines and COVID is in the distant past. All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Any abstentions or nay votes? Haven't heard any. Eva unanimously passed to cancel our December meeting and then begin meeting again in 2021. All right, I think that completes our regular agenda, but before we close off for the day, just want to make sure we have an opportunity to, if there are any comments or questions from the committee members in general, any issues we'd like to cover really quickly. Tom?
Hi, thank you, Doctor. We have some amazing resources now between what's coming up at the Mendez Foundation and the Kognito presentation we just saw. This went back to something I brought up a while ago, and I'd really get curious to know what the other committee members' opinion is on this, that we really need a robust delivery system that starts with us. So I know we had a speakers bureau well before my time, but some way that we can start engaging speakers, even if they're not board members, to participate and go deliver this at the schools and have relationships and, as many as we can get and get them into classrooms and things like that, to start having a more proactive approach and making these buzzwords and these things familiar to people and know that there's a place they can reach out to. So before we pursue ways of recruiting, does the board have an appetite for a very robust speakers bureau that may be available ad hoc, that is at a request to go into a school or a classroom is having a problem, and also regularly scheduled delivered presentations in an organized fashion across Hillsborough County, and maybe even partnering with the education board? Get Melissa Snively or somebody to do a pre-tape type of delivery ahead of it, and what the tolerance is with the schools, just something that we are really giving the message out there as the board. So I'd like to hear other people's comments if this is a direction they think we should go.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Comments from the committee members? Well, let me say from my own perspective, in some ways, COVID has changed the way I think about things. And one of the kind of a low-hanging fruit to me is perhaps developing pre-taped presentations. Whether it's something we do at the university now, we're doing more or less TED Talk type things, which are 10 or 15 minutes, maybe even shorter than that, 5 and 7 minutes. We're doing a few different kinds of promotions for our graduate programs, for example, that are 3 or 4 minutes. You can also do presentations that are maybe 30 minutes long based on more educational oriented things. And in some ways that may be, I call it a low-hanging fruit because the technology is better now, and so you can get these kind of videos or pre-recorded things done fairly easily, and then they're not quite as timed to the availability of folks. You can do it whenever you have the time. It can be cataloged. You can put it on YouTube if necessary, and it can be something that we can promote and make available on different websites or other platforms. So that's one thought. The other thought is to just have those who feel comfortable and knowledgeable kind of identify themselves so we can schedule, so we can, when a request comes up, we can have folks available who may or may not, if they have the time and it's not a conflict on their schedule or something, so they can go out and make these presentations. And I would hasten to add that these presentations don't have to be, you don't have to have every fact and figure in front of you. You don't have to offer an in-depth analysis of all the causes, implications, and neurological sequela of a situation. You can just describe it, talk about what the opportunities are, and we can even put together resources for those. I think we had a slide deck that we produced, but we could revisit that, perhaps add a different slide deck. So we just need a comfortable voice who's willing to kind of share the slides and do a little talk. So I don't think it's a terrible imposition. I think anybody on this committee could do it.
Okay, and I don't see it as because they're board members doesn't necessarily mean that translates to being speakers. It could be a very organized platform of recruiting. First, it would start with having a trainer, a train the trainer kind of scenario. So we have some sort of organized way to have somebody on a Zoom call, and we train them in what they can go out there and do. And they just try to have a lot of people on our roles that are going out there and then getting them. I think it's a fundamental part of what our obligation is to get that word out there as much as possible. So it doesn't have to be board members doing it. I would welcome doing it myself, of course, but I'd rather not just get a PowerPoint and then just have to do it that way. I'd like to, maybe with help with someone, develop some sort of training program, make sure they have the confidence going out there, they're speaking for the board. And like I said, maybe even enlist the education committee as well. The school board members, they seem, well, they're pretty busy lately, but see if there's anyone on there that would want to do it. There's a lot of them that are certainly so I'll take the lack of responsibility of board members that there's not an appetite or not a good appetite or a bad one, just that we have to think about it. So I'll present some talking points on what I'm thinking for the next meeting. And if we can just take a look at it a little more in depth, I don't know if people want to make it an agenda item or if you want to issue an agenda item, but I really would love to see this be in the future going forward on a very decent speakers opportunity where we're going into these schools, libraries, whatever.
Thanks, Tom. Julio, you had a comment?
I did. I think that, what Tom is bringing up it is valid and very important. Maybe it deserves to be like a subcommittee of this committee, a group of people putting it together, developing, a list of speakers and items that they can use during those presentations, because each presentation is really different. Are you dealing with an adult community? Are you dealing with parents, teachers, educators, or are you going and talking to kids in the school?
Thanks, Julio. I appreciate that. Ray, you had a comment too.
Yeah, it's Tom Ray Padgett, Department Manager of Community Outreach for Hillsborough County Schools. It's the lack of instant response. We've got to check with our communications folks and with the board members at large. So we're not being unsupportive of it right now. We just got to check on some moving parts. So yes, getting an agenda item moving forward, that'll give us time to work through those things.
Okay. And I didn't take it that way, that it was not, you guys aren't supporting it. I know it's something we got to consider. So thank you.
Sure.
Jennifer? Jennifer, I think you're muted.
Yeah, so sorry. Dr. Massey and Tom, yeah, one thing I would like to see with that though is that if you do a speaker, I would like to see a mental health person go out with that speaker just in case you run into something, or a mental health component with that, in case you run into something that, you know, somebody reveals, you know, an at-risk situation, that you have that person on site with you to recommend, refer, Baker Act if you need, those kind of situations. So I would just throw that out there as well.
Thank you. And if I may add another comment to that, and you're absolutely right. If we did explore something, like Julio said, with putting the subcommittee together, we would have different levels of topics that we would cover. So if we have an opportunity to get in front of the whole school, for example, during an assembly for 20 minutes, it would be a rather high level generic conversation. This is who we are. These are the resources. This is our links. But if we were doing in a classroom, that we were doing it as a reaction from a teacher request, because there had been some bullying in the classroom, that's the opportunity to have somebody available on the Speakers Bureau that can go out, that's a counselor in some sort of form, and give that sort of input as well. So I think we could do a whole lot with it and really serve the community as anti-bullying professionals, experts, if you will, if we do this right. So I think there's a lot of potential. So thank you for that, Jennifer.
I thought I saw another hand up too. Did somebody else have a comment?
Dr. Massey, it's Rob Parkinson. I think I raised my hand again. I'm having some problems with my screen. You know, I think both of these options seem very viable. Of course, the ABAC has some links on the county website. So if there were a video recorded presentation, we could have people download it direct from our website. We also have HTV, Hillsborough County TV. So again, if we come up with a viable product, we can have them record it so it could be watched at a citizen's leisure. They also have the capability of posting things on YouTube if we want to do that. But in turn, I think it was Jennifer mentioned to have a mental health person go out. The county and a number of our county partners have actually been implementing mental health first aid trainings for both the adult population and juvenile population. We even had mental health first aid trainings on our floor at County Center. County's done a really good job of trying to get as many people capable as we can. Hillsborough Safe and Sound, which is a county-funded organization, has brought in a lot of juvenile mental health first aid training. So if Mr. Avino is interested in this, and he actually does produce a proposal in, I think, January or February, our next meeting, and part of that is having the staff trained on mental health first aid. We can actually make sure that ABAC members get trained and certified on mental health first aid. That would increase their capability if they wanted to have that Speakers Bureau to go out to the community. And of course, you know, any training we can make available to ABAC members, the better you can do your job. We have a very broad spectrum of ABAC members. We have educators, we have behavioral health professionals, we have at-large citizens. You know, the more we can generalize the knowledge across all of those members, the better you guys can do your job. So we're willing to do that. Just let us know.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Tom, I don't want to put too much on you, but if you're willing to, I mean, we could develop a subcommittee now. I almost think that you sound like you have some specific ideas. Would you be willing to put a few bullet points together? We can put it on the agenda for our next meeting. And by all means, through Eva, you can reach out to other members if you'd like some, you know, feedback about your thinking or something like that. I'd be more than happy to, you know, because of the sunshine laws, I think we have to cycle things through Eva. but I'll be happy to look at anything or we, comment on it, throw, brainstorm ideas back and forth, and then perhaps you could present something at the next meeting. And if a subcommittee is the appropriate vehicle, we can do a subcommittee, we can vote on a subcommittee at that time. That'll give you a little time to think about what you're thinking about, or I repeated myself, but I think you get the idea. Are you amenable to that?
Absolutely. I'll have something organized together for the next meeting with some bullet points, and I'll reach out to Eva in between to get some feedback from the committee if anything comes up on that ahead of time. Okay,
that's wonderful. And by all means, I think it's and it would seem to me to be kind of a multi-pronged approach. You could do, as you said, kind of a little bit more formal, get people trained, have a resource that's ready, available. But there is a lot out there on, either linking resources on the website, and I'm not sure how open that website is to links. Rob, you can correct me, but there might be an opportunity for us to revisit the website or perhaps reactivate a Facebook page or something like that to have links on it so that informally folks can access resources that are either we produce or that are already out there. So there's a lot of some different venues, a lot of avenues we can go down. So I would love to see your thoughts about that.
Okay, you'll have them. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other comments? Any other ideas right now for Tom? Rob? Yep, you're muted, Rob.
I was lowering my hand.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right. And it seems to me that maybe a subcommittee is premature, but if I misunderstood, by all means, we could have a motion for a subcommittee now. Tom, I don't know if you prefer to wait for that.
I think the only way this is going to be successful is to have a subcommittee. We can't do it, every other month and try to build this up. There's going to be a lot of work in between. So I think it's going to, whatever direction we go and whatever the board agrees upon is the way to go, I think it's going to have to include it as a subcommittee.
Would you like to entertain a subcommittee now, or do you want to congeal your thoughts a little more before we talk about that?
Well, just so the board can vote on it, I think we should have those talking points and a little more discussion on it, and then vote to have the subcommittee, and maybe we can get members right then and there when we have that next discussion. Okay, so we'll do that next our next meeting then, which should be February. Is that correct, Eva?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And if I could call on all the committee members, and I'll do this myself too. What would you, whether it's a speakers board or a training offered to committee members, a subcommittee, please take a little time between now and then to think about what how you would envision this, and two, how you might be able to participate or add, your expertise to the process. It'll obviously takes, all the committee members have to contribute. That's much stronger. Makes the load manageable for everybody. So please think about it. Whether it's venue, whether it's content, whether it's process, think about what it could be and how it could be done. Julio is familiar with the libraries, how would they work? Those folks who are in community agencies, you can think about, well, how would it fit with your community agency? Are you a vehicle for dissemination? Do you have a resource that could be utilized? Just help think about this so we can have a good, rich discussion and make a very solid commitment on our next meeting to that. All right. Any other comment or discussion about that issue? And Eva will make sure we put that on the agenda for next time.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any questions, any issues, anything anybody like to share? All right. I don't see any hands or nobody's talking. Okay. So it's been a very helpful meeting today. I appreciate Elizabeth being on and Charles from the Mendez Foundation. Would we like to entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion. It's Tom Avino.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have a second?
Julio seconds it.
Thank you, Julio. We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you for your time this morning. Stay safe, stay socially distant, or whatever that means these days. And we'll talk to you after the holidays. And if we don't talk before then, have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, and scary Halloween and all the rest.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. You too. Take care, everybody.